In this video, I will be showing you some important tips that you can employ to get rid of those excess fats. Dieting comes to mind when most people think of losing weight and eating. Unfortunately, all of the fad diets on the market lead to people gaining weight. Why? Because they starve them to death, and the victim eventually succumbs to their hunger and consumes everything in sight. They also deprive children of their favorite foods. This isn't a healthy way to lose weight, and it's certainly not a healthy way to live. You are merely causing yourself tension, which leads to weight growth. So, there are a few recommendations for eating correctly that you can follow every day, and they won't restrict you of the foods you love, but they will treat them as luxury products, allowing you to appreciate them even more. Tip number 1. Consume fresh, high water content fruits and vegetables. Tomatoes, watermelons, cantaloupe, kiwi, grapes, and so on are examples of these foods. All of those luscious, fresh fruits and vegetables are beneficial for you. Because these foods contain 90 to 95% water, you can consume a lot of them and not gain weight. Tip number 2. Instead of processed fruit, eat fresh fruit. Processed foods are higher in sugar. Fresh fruits provide more fiber than processed and canned foods. Tip number 3. Get as much fiber as possible into your diet. This usually entails increasing your intake of fruits and vegetables. Tip number 4. When it comes to losing weight, vegetables are your best friend. There are a lot of choices here, and you might want to try some that you haven't tried before. The leafy green variety is the best, and you should always include them in a salad if you have the opportunity. Salads are nutrient-dense as long as you don't smother them with dressing or pile on too much cheese. Natural water is abundant in leafy greens. Tip number 5. Make informed decisions about what you eat. Don't just eat for the sake of eating. People eat when they know their bodies require it. Animals eat on instinct. People eat when they know their bodies require it. Don't eat on the spur of the moment. Tip number 6. Keep a close eye on everything you eat, from the dish itself to the toppings. Because they are often heavy in fat, garnishes and condiments can undermine a healthy dinner. Tip number 7. Take control of your sugar cravings. This isn't to say you can't enjoy your sweets, it just means you shouldn't eat them as a meal. Always keep in mind that these treats will wind up in a place where you don't want them. However, don't starve yourself because you'll eat twice as much. Tip number 8. Make a food schedule and stick to it. Make an effort to schedule your meals and eat them at those times. You can regulate what you eat and when you eat by following an eating routine. It is also preferable to eat 5 little meals per day rather than 1 or 2 large ones. Your body will feel as if it is famished if you just eat once a day, so it will store fat rather than use it as fuel. Also, don't eat until you're hungry. This merely encourages you to eat till you're full. Tip number 9. Only eat when you're starving. If you're unsure if you're hungry or thirsty, take a glass of water first. When they see food, many individuals consume it. They aren't hungry, they simply want to devour it. If you aren't truly hungry, don't consume anything presented to you. If you feel obligated to eat it out of politeness, merely nibble on it rather than eating the whole thing. Tip number 10. Avoid snacking between meals if at all possible, but if you must, make sure it is a healthy one. If you travel frequently, make an effort to select healthy snacks rather than junk food. Tip number 11. Snacks made from vegetables are delicious. If you have them, they can help you get over the hunger pangs. Carrots are fantastic since they satisfy hunger while still being high in nutrients. Tip number 12. For those must-have foods, keeping track of calories is a smart idea. If the food is packed, the calories will be printed on the label. Keep an eye out for serving sizes that are low in calories. Because an Otis Spunkmeyer muffin is meant to serve 2 people, the calories given must be doubled. This is where food manufacturers become deceptive, and you must avoid falling into their trap. Tip number 13. By the end of the week, you should have burned off the extra calories. If you feel like you've overindulged this week, go to the gym or go for a long walk to burn off those excess calories. Tip number 14. All fried foods should be avoided. It's preferable to bake it if it's breaded. Fried foods contain a lot of fat and oil. Even after all of the excess oil has been drained away, oil has been absorbed into the food item. Tip number 15. Meals should not be skipped. You should eat 3 meals a day at the absolute least, but 5 small meals are preferable. This will prevent you from being hungry during the day and overeating due to hunger. Tip number 16. Fresh vegetables are preferable to canned vegetables, just as fruits are. If you can eat your vegetables raw, all the better. Cooking them depletes their nutritional value. If you must cook them, make sure they are still crisp. Also, don't use butter to soak them in. It's much better if you can find organic, pesticide-free produce. Tip number 17. 1 egg per day is the maximum amount to consume. Reduce your egg consumption to 3 per week at the very least. Tip number 18. Chocolates should be regarded as a high-end item. Buy the best and eat it only once in a while. You'll have more fun eating them if you really savor each bite, and they'll taste even better. Tip number 19. Every day, eat foods from all of the dietary categories. This is an excellent technique to guarantee that you are getting all of the nutrients your body requires while also preventing diet shortages. Also, avoid eating the same meals over and over. Experiment with different foods so you don't grow tired with the same old diet. Tip number 20. Within an hour of waking up, try to have breakfast. This is the most effective method for giving your body a boost. Don't put off eating till you're starving. Breakfast is essential, but there's no need to overeat. You're breaking your fast by not eating for 24 hours. Tip number 21. All food groups, including carbs, should be included in your diet. In fact, your diet should consist of roughly 50 to 55% carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are a fantastic source of energy. Diets that restrict carbohydrates are actually harmful to your health and make you crave them even more. You shouldn't be deficient in anything because of your diet. Tip number 22. Protein should account for only 25 to 30% of your total calories. Meat is overvalued as the centerpiece of your meal. In reality, it's more of a side dish than a main entree. Tip number 23. Fats should account for 15 to 20% of your meal. This is all the fat your body needs. Much of this will be found in your diet in the form of milk, sugar, and other such items. Tip number 24. White meat is preferred over red meat. Chicken, fish, and certain other fowl are examples of white flesh. Beef and pork are examples of red meat. Tip number 25. Try to eat as much vegetarian food as possible. Even if you can't totally avoid meat, this is a better way of living. It's best if you can consume as many fruits and vegetables as possible. The more meat you eliminate from your diet, the more fat you may eliminate from your diet. Protein, on the other hand, is crucial, so make sure your choice allows you to maintain adequate protein levels. Tip number 26. White bread is fine, but multigrain bread with a high fiber content is far superior. This bread is another method to boost your fiber intake while also providing a healthy source of protein. Tip number 27. Pork does not help you lose weight in any way. When it comes to losing weight, the less pork you consume, the better. Bacon, ham, and sausage are examples of pork products with high fat content. Tip number 28. Sugar consumption should be kept to a minimum. If you really must have sweetener in your coffee or tea, attempt to select an artificial sweetener that you enjoy. These things, on the other hand, are not particularly healthy and should be avoided. Tip number 29. Grazing 5 to 6 times a day is a good idea. These are the modest meals that we talked about previously. Some people lose weight faster when they never feel hungry, which you can do by grazing on healthy foods. It also keeps your metabolism active, which helps you burn fat naturally. Tip number 30. Don't be afraid to cheat occasionally, but not for a meal. For the sake of flavor, consume sweets in your favorite cheat meal. After dinner, if you want dessert, share one with the entire family. The flavor will be there, but not the pounds. Tip number 31. Keep an eye on your fat consumption. Each gram of fat contains 9 calories. You can calculate the quantity of fat in those things if you know your total calories. Tip number 32. Reduce the amount of salt you use and attempt to cut it in half. Obesity is caused in part by a diet high in salt. You can lose weight by changing how you prepare your meal. I will give you some tips on how you can reduce your weight by how you prepare your meal. Tip number 1. Try baking those dishes instead of frying them in oil or fat. Baking does not require as much grease and oil as frying does, and your food does not absorb up those ingredients while cooking. Tip number 2. To avoid using oil, coat your frying pan with non-stick cooking spray. Non-stick pans also require less, if any, oil. Tip number 4. Rather than cooking, boil vegetables. You may also steam them, which is the healthiest method to eat cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots. Tip number 5. Be wary of foods that claim to be fat-free or low-fat. Many of these foods are available, however, they are not particularly healthful. Many of these foods are sweetened with a chemical or carbohydrate to improve their taste. However, the body converts these molecules and carbohydrates to sugar, implying that they are still converted to fat. That will be it for now, as I wouldn't want this video to be too long. I will be giving more tips on how to lose weight in my next video, so watch out for my next video. If you would want to take your weight loss more seriously, there will be some links in the description below. Each link will give you access to different weight supplements that you can take advantage of to enhance your weight loss. Also, if you find the information in this video useful, please like, subscribe, as it would encourage me to keep bringing to you vital information that can help you health-wise, and press the notification button so as to be part of the first people that will be notified when I drop important videos like this. Thank you for watching.